My dear friend, I want you to pause for a moment. Imagine someone whispering in your ear, "This is the biggest secret. Your sister is not who you think she is." At first, your mind resists. It feels too shocking, too unsettling. But then, something deep inside you leans in closer, almost against your will, urging you not to look away. That's where we begin today. If you've ever believed in angels, or even wondered if there's a voice beyond this world guiding you, then this message is for you. Sometimes the most powerful truths do not come in loud proclamations, but in quiet, persistent whispers. A nudge in your spirit, a feeling that something is not as it seems. Today, I want you to open your heart to that possibility, because what you are about to hear may not only shift how you see others, it may change how you see yourself. Think about how often we live under assumptions. We trust people because of labels: family, friend, mentor, partner. We carry memories with them. We laugh together, cry together, and never think to question the foundation of those bonds. But what if, hidden underneath all of that, there is a deception? Not a deception designed merely to trick you, but one that has shaped your life in ways you've never even recognized. The angel's voice in this story begins with an urgent call. My child, open your heart, for what I am about to reveal to you will change everything you thought you knew. That's not just poetic language. It's a direct invitation. Because the truth is, whether you are religious or not, every single one of us has lived with hidden layers in our relationships. We all have moments where something feels off, but we brush it aside. You've walked in the midst of truths concealed. Today, the veil is about to be lifted. And the question is, are you ready to hear what has been waiting for you all along? The urgency of revelation. There comes a moment in every life when what has been hidden rises to the surface. Maybe you've experienced it, a family secret, a betrayal, or even a sudden realization about yourself. In the language of this message, the moment of unveiling is here. The secret that has been buried for so long is now rising to the surface. This isn't just drama, it's the nature of truth. Lies can last a season, sometimes even a lifetime, but eventually they crumble under their own weight. The silence surrounding them cannot hold forever. And according to this revelation, heaven itself has declared, you must know the truth now. Why now? Why not years ago? The words remind us, you were never meant to live in ignorance. You were never meant to be kept in the dark. That strikes at something very human. How often do we settle for not knowing, for the comfort of illusion, because the truth feels too painful? But real growth never happens in the dark. Illusions might protect us for a while, but they also trap us. Perhaps you've lived through this. Maybe you once believed a relationship was perfect until one detail shattered the picture and you realized how many things you had overlooked. That moment is terrifying, but it's also freeing. Because once the veil is lifted, you can no longer go back to living blind. Here, the voice insists that you are the one chosen to receive this truth. That idea might make you uncomfortable, but it also highlights responsibility. Not everyone is given the same revelation at the same time. Some truths arrive precisely when you are ready to hold them. And readiness doesn't always mean comfort. Often it means disruption. The urgency here is not about rushing, it's about clarity. The hidden story has waited long enough. And whether you are prepared or not, it is unfolding. You may not control when truth comes, but you can decide how you respond when it does. Will you resist or will you listen? The influence of hidden truth. Let's take this deeper. Imagine for a moment that something you never knew, something deliberately concealed, has been shaping your life. Not just one choice, but many. The hidden truth has influenced your relationships, your decisions, even your emotions. You've laughed and cried with someone you trusted completely, someone you even called family. But what if the foundation of those moments was not what it seemed? The message makes it clear: what has been concealed from you has shaped your life in ways you never realized. It has influenced your relationships, your choices, your emotions, and yet you did not know. That is a haunting thought, because it means that parts of your story were written with information you never had access to. Think about how this plays out in real life. How many times do we discover years later that a parent, a sibling, or even a close friend carried secret? Maybe it was something they did or something they hid. And suddenly, memories we thought were clear become blurry. That trip, that conversation, that argument, it all looks different in hindsight. This is why the angel's revelation is so powerful. There is someone you have trusted. You have called them family. A truth so deep, so life-altering that when it is fully revealed, you will never see this person the same way again. Now, let me pause here. This is not just about suspicion or paranoia. The message is not meant to turn us into skeptics who distrust everyone. Instead, it's about awareness. It's about acknowledging that when truth emerges, it will demand a new perspective. Sometimes the hardest part is not the secret itself, but the way it reshapes everything you thought was certain. The big takeaway here is this: hidden truths always leave fingerprints. You may not notice them at first, subtle shifts in behavior, small inconsistencies in words or actions, but your spirit feels it. That inner nudge you've dismissed as overthinking may actually be your deepest intuition. And when the truth finally comes, it won't just shock you. It will also make sense of everything you couldn't explain before. The purpose of revelation and the collapse of lies. When truth arrives, it never comes to harm you. It doesn't knock on your door to create division or to leave you confused. Truth comes because freedom demands it, and freedom can't exist in shadows. The message here is direct. This is not to harm you. This is not to cause division. This is not to bring confusion. This is to set you free. Think about that. Sometimes when life shakes us, we mistake the shaking for destruction. But what if it's actually liberation? What if the breaking apart of what we thought was solid is just the clearing of space for something stronger, something truer? We've all seen this. A house built on weak foundations may look beautiful for a while, but the cracks eventually appear. And if the foundation is deception, collapse is inevitable. The revelation warns us, for what is built on lies cannot stand. What is built on deception will eventually crumble. Now, here comes the line that hits like a thunderclap. Your sister is not who you think she is. Imagine hearing those words about someone you've trusted your entire life. It rattles everything inside of you, but it also forces you to confront the reality that not all bonds are what they appear to be. And yet, the message reassures us, this is a divine intervention. That means the timing, the exposure, the unveiling, it's not random. It's not cruel. It's not chaos. It's a plan. It's the universe, or God, or whatever name you use for the greater force of life, saying, you cannot keep living on false ground. The collapse of lies always feels like loss at first. But if you've ever had a relationship fall apart, only to later realize how much it freed you, you know this truth. Sometimes what feels like betrayal is actually rescue. Sometimes what feels like an ending is the start of clarity. Signs, intuition, and the weight of memory. Think back over your life. Have there ever been moments that didn't quite add up? A phrase someone said that didn't fit, an action that felt off, a silence that was louder than words? At the time, you brushed it aside. You told yourself, I'm overthinking. I'm being too sensitive. But later, those moments linger in your memory like puzzle pieces that never found their place. The voice in this revelation reminds us, You may begin to recall moments that didn't quite make sense, words that seemed out of place, actions that felt unusual. And then it adds, those moments were not meaningless. Those feelings were not random. Those were my warnings. I find that incredibly powerful, because how many times have we been taught to ignore our intuition? In a world that worships logic and proof, we're often told to dismiss that inner knowing. Yet here, intuition is validated as divine guidance. Those small alarms in your soul were signals preparing you for the truth you now face. There were conversations behind closed doors, decisions made without your awareness, choices that shaped your path without your consent. And while you couldn't see them at the time, they left traces in your spirit. Maybe you felt uneasy without knowing why. Maybe you carried confusion that had no explanation. Now the pieces begin to align. When the veil lifts, it does more than reveal, it reorders the past. Suddenly, those strange memories start to make sense. Those inconsistencies gain context. And yes, it's painful, because to realize that someone you trusted was moving in ways hidden from you is a deep wound. But it's also liberating, because now the confusion has a name. The voice promises, when the truth is fully revealed, it will challenge everything you thought you knew. But challenge doesn't mean destroy. Challenge means growth. It means becoming aware that your story isn't as simple as you thought, and that awareness, though heavy, can become a key to freedom. The sister who knew and the silence she carried. Now comes perhaps the most piercing revelation. Your sister has known. She has known the truth for longer than you can imagine. Let that settle. The person closest to you, someone you trusted as family, has carried a truth in silence. She lived with it. She hid it. Some days it weighed her down with guilt. Other days it gave her relief. But through it all, you were left in the dark. Why didn't she speak? The message offers possibilities, fear, shame, or even a misguided sense of protection. And isn't that often the case with secrets? People convince themselves that silence spares pain, when in reality, silence multiplies it. What is hidden grows heavier with time. What is suppressed eventually demands to be exposed. And yet, the voice insists, nothing happens outside of my perfect timing. And this is the appointed time. This isn't about blaming her. It's about recognizing that the truth, no matter how long delayed, arrives exactly when it must. Think about your own life. Have you ever been spared a truth until you were strong enough to bear it? Maybe you only discovered later why certain things happened or why certain people acted the way they did. Looking back, you realized you couldn't have handled it earlier. Timing isn't accidental, it's protective. So what does it mean that the truth is surfacing now? It means you are ready. Ready to hear, ready to hold, ready to walk forward without the weight of deception clouding your steps. It means the silence has run its course, and the appointed time for clarity has come. Yes, her silence may feel like betrayal, but it can also be seen as proof that even in deception, there is divine timing. The truth has ripened, and now it falls into your hands, not as a weapon, but as a key. Because this is not about breaking you, it is about awakening you. The story you thought you knew is shifting, and while that may unsettle you, it also sets you free. Reading the signs without losing your peace. If the truth is arriving, it rarely bursts through the door. It taps on the window first. A slip in someone's words. A story that doesn't match the timestamp. A glance that lingers too long or avoids you altogether. You start to notice how pieces you once forced together never really fit. Now they begin to fall into place on their own. When that happens, your nervous system will want a villain. It will search for an outlet, anger, resentment, a dramatic scene to prove you're not a fool. But here's the invitation. Don't let anger write your next chapter. Anger can spotlight a problem, it cannot solve it. Resentment can feel like armor, it is actually a cage. What you need is clarity, and clarity arrives when your heart is steady enough to perceive what your eyes missed. So as the signs appear, breathe slower. Keep notes, not to build a case, but to build awareness. Ask yourself simple, grounding questions. What did I observe? What did I assume? What do I actually know? Let the truth separate itself from the noise. Wisdom isn't passive, it is precise. It asks for patience, for attention, and for the humility to admit when we've been wrong. You are not asked to become suspicious of everyone. You are asked to become a faithful steward of your own discernment. Let the evidence accumulate without forcing it. If something is true, it will surface again and again, calmly and consistently. If it is false, you will feel the strain of making it fit. Most of all, remember this: you are not being punished with knowledge, you are being prepared by it. Knowledge without love hardens, love without knowledge blinds. Hold both. Let this process shape you into someone steadier, not bitter, clearer, not colder. The goal is not to win. The goal is to walk forward with a clean spirit, a strong mind, and a story you are not ashamed to tell when this chapter closes. How to enter the conversation that changes everything. There will come a moment, maybe planned, maybe unexpectedly quiet, when the conversation must happen. You won't need to perform. You will need to be awake. The hiding has ended. The secrecy is over. The light is already in the room. Your task is to bring your whole self, your questions, your courage, and your calm. Begin by anchoring your posture. Decide your intention before you speak. I am here for truth, not revenge. I am here to understand, not to humiliate. I am here to step out of confusion. When you hold that intention, your words will carry a different weight. You won't need to accuse, you can inquire. You won't need to corner, you can clarify. Consider using language that opens doors instead of slamming them. Help me understand this timeline. There are gaps between what happened and what I was told. Can we walk through them? I'm not here to attack you. I need the truth so I can move forward with integrity. Expect deflection. Expect discomfort. Expect emotional fog. That's normal when truth is expensive. But keep returning to steady questions, to dates, to details, to what is verifiable. You're not interrogating to win. You're listening to heal. If the answers come in fragments, let the fragments speak. If there is silence, let the silence say what it says. And if you are a person of faith, or simply a person of conscience, pray before and after. Ask for clean motives, for gentle strength, for words that don't scorch the earth you may still need to walk on tomorrow. The most transformative conversations are not the loudest. They are the ones anchored in the quiet power of a non-anxious presence. Whatever emerges, know this: revelation is an act of mercy. It stops you from investing in a future that was never real. It returns you to solid ground. Some stories survive this kind of truth-telling and are rebuilt, honestly, slowly, differently. Others end with dignity and distance. Both outcomes can honor your soul. Your role is to stand in the light and refuse to participate in a lie, no matter how familiar that lie has felt. Seeing the pattern and trusting the voice within. By now you've begun to recognize a pattern. Words that dressed as affection but carried another agenda. Gestures that mimic care while serving a quieter self-interest. You sensed it, even if you couldn't name it. That off feeling wasn't paranoia, it was perception waiting for language. Give your discernment dignity. Trace the moments, the conversations you weren't invited to but were somehow about you, the apologies that managed your reaction without admitting the action, the explanations that spun just enough truth to keep you uncertain. These aren't isolated glitches, they're a map. And maps don't accuse, they reveal. It's tempting to retaliate, to mirror the harm with your own sharpness. But the point of revelation is refinement, not ruin. Your future needs a version of you that is tempered, not torched. So choose responses that protect your integrity. Clear boundaries, simple statements, few promises. You don't have to dramatize your strength. You can quietly live it. If ties must be loosened, let them loosen. If they must be cut, cut with clean lines, not jagged edges. Cutting ties is not about superiority, it's about alignment. You are making room for relationships that can breathe truth without collapsing. You are choosing a life where love and honesty are on the same team. And as those old chains fall away, notice what returns to you. Focus, rest, the ease of not monitoring every sentence, the relief of not bracing for impact. That's what freedom feels like, not fireworks, but oxygen. A widening of the chest, a quieter mind. Finally, honor the voice within that asked you to look twice. Call it intuition, conscience, the Holy Spirit, or simply the wisdom accumulated by a heart that has learned to pay attention. That voice is not infallible, but it is invaluable. Nurture it with solitude, with honest friends, with habits that keep you clear. Sleep, movement, prayer, long walks without your phone. The world is loud, truth is often quiet. You will need practices that help you hear it. You were told the chains are breaking. Believe it, not because you're angry, but because you're awake. Not because you want to expose someone, but because you refuse to live in a story that erases you. Step forward, lighter, wiser, and wholly aligned with the light that brought you here. A call to wisdom and inner peace. Not every revelation calls for confrontation. Not every truth demands an immediate reaction. Sometimes the greatest strength is restraint. The message here is simple yet profound. This is not a call for confrontation. This is not a command to act out of emotion. This is a call to wisdom, to discernment, to prayer. Think about how our culture conditions us. When we feel wrong, we're told to respond instantly, fire back, expose, demand answers. But true wisdom often whispers, pause, breathe, gather your spirit first. Because a heart at peace can see what a restless heart cannot. The voice also promises, remain in peace, for I am with you. I will show you how to handle what has been revealed. Peace here is not denial. It's not pretending everything is fine. It's the deep confidence that you are not facing this alone. That even in the swirl of confusion, you are being guided step by step. And where does this lead? Toward healing. I will bring healing where there was pain. What was meant to hinder you will be used to propel you forward. Life has a way of turning wounds into wisdom. What once looked like an obstacle may become the very fuel for your growth. So stand firm. You will walk with authority, with clarity, with confidence. Stand firm. Do not be shaken. Peace does not mean passivity. It means moving with a quiet authority that cannot be rattled by deception, the unmasking of false intentions. Now the message sharpens. Not everyone who smiles at you carries pure intentions. That one line feels like a mirror shattering. How many times have we assumed a smile equals sincerity? Yet not all warmth is honest. Some is camouflage. The revelation continues. There is something about this person that has been hidden from you. The one you call sister, whether by blood or by bond, is not who you believe them to be. These are not words meant to fuel paranoia. They are meant to remind you that discernment matters more than appearances. It says plainly, this person has not been truthful with you. They have withheld information that rightfully belongs to you. Deception is not just about lies spoken, it is also about truths withheld. Silence can distort reality as much as speech. And yet, this is not the end of the story. They have hidden things that would change the way you see everything. The burdens of deception are being lifted from your shoulders. Notice the tone. Liberation, not punishment. Yes, the exposure hurts, but it also releases you from carrying weight that was never yours to bear. The point is not to live in suspicion. It is to learn that your worth is too precious to be tied to illusions. Unmasking is painful, but clears the stage so that only truth can remain. The sorting of relationships. Here comes the hard but necessary truth. Not every relationship is meant to continue with you into the next chapter. The voice says, I have allowed this revelation to come forth now because you are ready. Timing is everything. You were not ready before, but now you are. And what follows may be unsettling. There will be conversations. You will hear things you were never meant to hear. The truth doesn't arrive politely, it interrupts. It forces you to face realities you might have preferred to ignore. And yes, some people will try to twist the narrative. They will try to convince you otherwise, to make you doubt. But here lies the reassurance. What they meant for harm, I am turning into a blessing. Deception is never the final word. What was meant to weaken you becomes the soil for your resilience. Finally, the voice is clear. Let go of the need to hold on to relationships built on falsehoods. Not everyone is meant to go where I am taking you. That's not rejection, it's direction. Some ties exist only for a season, and when their foundation is deception, they cannot travel with you into truth. Releasing them is not cruelty, it's alignment. It's choosing to walk in freedom rather than clinging to illusions. As the message draws to a close, it shifts from exposure to assurance. Keep your spirit open. The truth is coming to you in ways you least expect. This is not just about one secret. It's about cultivating a life that welcomes clarity, even when clarity is uncomfortable. Then comes comfort. You are not alone. My angels surround you, ensuring that no harm comes near you. What a profound reminder. The point of revelation is not abandonment, it's companionship. You are shielded, guided, and strengthened, even when the ground beneath you feels unsteady. The final promise is filled with hope. You are stepping into a new chapter, one filled with clarity, freedom, and the fullness of my blessings. Notice the shift from secrecy to blessing, from deception to abundance. It reminds us that endings are also beginnings, and the conclusion is bold and steady. The secret is out. The truth is revealed. Walk in truth. Walk in strength. Walk in faith. That's the invitation to rise, not collapse. To embrace light, not hide in shadows. To walk with courage, not fear. So as you carry this message, let it become a mirror for your own life. Where are you being asked to release illusions? Where are you being invited to stand firmer in truth? The story closes here, but your story continues. And it continues brighter, freer, stronger.